All right, let's start. Susan, if she's going to come, will pop in, but usually she's pretty punctual. So we've got roll call taken care of. Guys, the minutes from the last meeting, the remote meeting, were sent out to you for June 9th. Everybody get a chance to look them over?
Yes.
Anybody want to make any changes, corrections, deletions to them? No, if not, is there a motion to approve the minutes from June 9th?
Motion.
Second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next thing is I'm going to open up for public comments other than related to the mural. And since Doug is the only public here, I know he has an MVAC update he wants to give us, right, Doug?
Yes, so I was talking to Corey prior to the meeting, and what we can do is all I wanted to let you guys know is that we did submit a plan to Stuart. I want to make sure that Parks and Rec is aware of our plan and what it looks like. We did not have an August meeting, but I did mine all through emails to my team over here, and we submitted a final plan. Corey, if you can bring it up, then I'll just give you the quick updates to what our plan is going to look like, and just make sure that Parks and Rec is aware of it. And I know that other stakeholders have their plans or their changes, but this is what MVAC's final plan is going to be here.
And this was sent over to Stuart for their consideration when they come.
Sent over to Corey, who sent it over to Stuart, correct?
Right. When they come back with their final 3 or final 4, whatever it's going to be.
Okay, correct. So hopefully they'll come back with it. But I didn't want to leave you guys out in the dark. I want to make sure that everybody knows. I know Howie and Corey know about it, but I'm not sure if the rest of you guys saw the MVAC plan.
Yeah. So with if I could just add to it, so what Doug did, like I said, met with the MVAC, and the way that I couched the information, I forwarded to Stuart as these are additional comments. These are, it was in the form of a plan. I'm not sure what software you use, but they, put their ideas together, and that was forwarded to Stuart, as that, in that format, in that plan format. Here, I'll share this. All right, can everybody see that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I discussed it with my executive committee. I reached out to all of our players in MVAC, and then this is the final plan that we have in here. As you guys noticed, we took the Memorial Walk alternative. We did like that plan the most. The park entrance to the right is where the original one was. Now, the one thing that we really had concerns were, and I think you guys remember that from last time, was the park entrance where the number 1 is to the left. We did want to make sure that those pillars came down around the corner, and that matches the line. Can you go to the next one real quick, Corey, the next diagram? So you guys remember that, you saw that red line up there, and that was debatable or subject to change, but the red line was basically where where we wanted the pillars on the top left end of it. So you could see that going around the sidewalk. So we use that, and if you want to go back to the other one now, Corey, we consider that is a must. That is something that the MVAC would need to see, is the pillars coming around there. And again, the whole reason for that was to ensure that we have access to, not that we're planning on using or putting anything in there right now, because again, that would come through Parks and Recs and through the rest of the committees over here, the key stakeholders. But that upper left-hand corner over there for any kind of future stuff. And again, we do understand, and we've been talking this all the time, less is more. And, so as we do have new ideas that come up, then we'll consider them, make sure that, from any stakeholder that comes in through here to hopefully submit, and then we'll look at it through MVAC, and then we'll provide our comments or suggestions also. The one thing that we consider is that the pillars that are not going to be any larger than what the current pillars are in the park or around the park. One would be on each side of the sidewalk for the entry and exit way. So when I'm saying the south side of the sidewalk, so that would have the signs coming in here. We did like from the meditation garden one, I think it was a Duggan plan. We did like the meditation area. So number 2 is that portion of it. We'd like to see that added to it. that would give, I know there was a lot of talk about seating area, especially for the elderly coming up into the park, and we thought that was a really good idea, so we would like to incorporate that for a seating area. Now, on number 3, those little red things all along there, so we as IMVAC, and I know there's still going to be some talk about either vertical or horizontal delineation, but we as IMVAC consider that, and we would like to at least have some type of delineation. And in our view, remember we're talking about 4 feet or less in, that 4 feet would be in the form of paver bricks that would go from one end of the entry exit post to the other one. Not only would it delineate the park, but it would give a wider area from that 3 to 4 feet, that if there were activity in there, that would be a flattened out area with the sidewalk and provide access for folks to bring their lawn chairs, standing room, and that type of activity. And I think that would not take away from the Stumptown Park itself for the future events that we have out there. So that is the plan that we submitted. And I know the other key stakeholders are going to submit different plans, but that was the final one that IMVAC had. So unless you have any questions for me, I just want to make sure everybody was aware of it so there's no surprises.
Anybody have any questions for Doug? Doug, I've got a question for you. Number 1, the pillar on the left side, how close is that in relation to the existing playground? That's what I'm just trying to figure out.
So,
No.
Yeah, that is going to be a great question, and I know that one item that we have out there, that one turnaround place thing that hasn't been replaced yet, and I know Corey's talking about it. We need to make sure that doesn't affect the playground, or that's for conversation. Do we move that one item to make sure that kids aren't climbing on that pillar? Or do we put some seating around that side? I'm open to suggestions and ideas, but I think the way that one item is there right now for that park is really, it's not, what do you want to call it? It is not functional because it's not operating. It's not doing its purpose to turn around. And I don't know if there's any plans to do anything with that. But again, with everything that we have up in that area, in that playground, that is underneath that big tree. To me, I'm not sure how used that little tiny section is right there. My recommendation would be to move that one item for the playground further down to another spot in there, for future. I'm not sure what Corey has for plans for the playground in the future, but it is right up.
I'm a little concerned about putting a hardscape item in close proximity to a kid's playground. That's my big concern.
Right.
And it's only that one pillar. The one on the inside is not a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, when we come up to it, I'd like to see what plans that we could make for the park. If the park can come down, a couple of feet. I don't know what the requirement is as far as footage, for footage for kids to be able to play or something near there for that area. All open for it, but I don't know what the policy is for playground and distance and whatnot for that right now. But all open for that one. But we did want it to come around, so our recommendation would be to move that one playground item away from there, and kids can still come up to that area over there. Or even better yet, when they do start putting playground items in there, put for the memorial park, you can put a little airplane that people can crawl on, or a little tank or something like that, because that would be integrating the two parks over there with the playground. But again, Howie, that would probably abut it to it right now, the way it's currently configured.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll share a little information about that. Typically with playground equipment, 6 feet is the use zone. So nothing can be within 6 feet radius of any edge of any playground equipment. So one design idea is to simply expand the sidewalk here. Can you guys see my cursor?
Yeah.
Maybe not. So it would, one idea is it would gradually get larger. So essentially, to create the square footage for, I guess, whatever size the column could be, essentially it will be sitting on the existing sidewalk, and the sidewalk would essentially just extend about that amount of square footage westward to incorporate that into the existing sidewalk and lessen the impact on the existing playground, and certainly be able to maintain the use zone for any equipment.
And again, this is our plan to be submitted, and of course, discussions with Parks and Recs on the playground and everything else. See what Stuart can come up with as far as, if they can make a small change, and like Corey was saying, see what we can come up with to facilitate that over there. So as you see right there, our plan for MVAC would be, the only two things that would be inside that portion would be the vertical, would be those two pillars, and then the rest of it would be horizontal presentation to make a delineation.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it, guys. That's all I wanted to say. And unless there's anything else that's going to be discussed, I'm going to go ahead and sign off.
Well, I'll tell you, while you're here, I will go ahead and, I was going to share this a little bit later. I guess just a quick little talk through of where we are in the process. We had the meeting in June, received the feedback from stakeholders and, both committees. I did ask Stuart to extend the comment period a number of weeks, just for, additional research and just gathering as many comments as we could. That extended them, I guess, through whatever day you sent that, last Friday, I think it was. And I submitted what Doug added and also some additional comments just from, citizens I received. So Stuart has, call it all the information at this point. At this point, the August meeting, which I think is the 12th, I think it is, or the 11th, it will be the presentation by Stuart with the 2 to 3 conceptual designs. The advisory committee will be asked to make a recommendation. If it is with some changes, definitely looked at as like a buffet. Take pieces of whatever design you all like the most, and then that recommendation. Well, all of the options will be presented to the town board, but also with the recommendation from the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. And that's sort of a quick little timeline what you should expect.
Corey, can this committee and MVAC get the drawings as soon as you get them from Stuart? Because obviously more lead time coming to the meeting would be better than, seeing them either that afternoon or, the day before.
Yes. So I forget the date, but roughly maybe 8 days before. That's the tentative sort of, I'll say deadline, but I asked Stuart to provide it, and then we'll send it out as soon as I get it. The one thing we won't have is cost estimates. Looking at what the date of last Friday, and then looking at 1st of August, roughly 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks. And then from that, they will need another 2 weeks or so to develop the cost estimates. So you'll see the designs, but the cost estimates will likely be ready right before the town board meeting, which I think is August 23rd.
Right, and Corey, you also need to share it with the vets as their stakeholder in this too. And my question is, how are we going to share these designs with the public in advance of the meeting? In case they want to come and put comment in on them also. The general public, not the stakeholders.
Yeah, we can make them available on the website. I do think at this point, call it the grander or the greater public comment will be during the town board meeting, which will be available at least by the Wednesday before that Monday. The design is part of the back.
I think we would want public input because it may also have some factor on what we may recommend also.
Okay. Yeah, we can make it available. Go ahead.
Sorry, I kind of agree with Howie on that one. I think if we can get it 7 or 8 days, if the key stakeholders can get a hold of the drawings, I'd like to see it beforehand and have a discussion with the key stakeholders, because that way it'll facilitate the meeting in August instead of us kind of like looking confused like the first time seeing it. But if we can get it 7 or 8 days prior to the key stakeholders, we can send it out to everybody, and then we can send comments and hopefully have a better discussion instead of seeing it for the first time during your August meeting.
No, yeah. I think we're saying the same thing then. Yeah, the plan was to have it available 7 to 8 days before the advisory committee meeting. It was only the cost that wouldn't be available.
Understood. But again, if everybody's willing to talk about it instead of just seeing them and whatnot, because I think we have a better discussion, that would be great. If and put it out there via email or whatever. And probably, like you said before, is make your next meeting put it out there for public comments, and that way they can join and see this before it goes up to the town board, anybody, for the public comments.
Right, because I honestly expect with these things coming out 7 or 8 days before, the vets, MVAC, and us will probably sit down at some point and go through it and see if we have common ground or where we're disagreeing, at least to get an idea on those two things.
Okay.
I hope that we can come to some kind of consensus, and if we don't, we can all brief the town board separately, but the better consensus we have, I think the stronger argument we have when we go to the town board.
Corey, let me ask a question. I think I understood you said correctly to say Stuart's going to present 2 to 3 designs. Is that right? And
Correct.
then those 2 to, we'll have comments and a recommendation, and then those 2 to 3 designs will go on to the town board. Am I right on that? With recommendations from this? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And those designs would be more than just an overview? Would there be some 3-dimensional or bird's eye view?
Gotcha. Yeah. So we did ask them to create call it a front-facing perspective, as if I was standing on the ground facing the area.
Okay, great. Thank you guys for allowing me some time over here. I know you guys got a long meeting planned. So with that, unless there's any more questions, we'll talk to you guys in August.
Hopefully not, Doug, but thank you anyway.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Okay, next thing we had the division reports were handed out to you guys. Anybody have any questions or comments on any of those, or you can just kind of move on?
Move on.
Melissa, anything you want to add about the community center that you want to bring us up to date on, or everything's pretty much already included in the notes?
I think everything should be included, community center wise. We're in the throes of summer camp.
All right, thanks. Corey, director's report.
You're muted.
Corey, you're muted.
Sorry. So we do have a tentative date for the Heritage Trail ribbon cutting. Still confirming that with, I want to put the date out to elected officials and confirm that at least the majority of the people will be able to attend. But we're looking at August 12th or August 13th. Again, one of those dates will, hopefully work for everybody. So I wanted to go ahead and get that on your schedules also. Again, I certainly will receive an invite. I will go ahead and I will begin with an apology. So I sent an invitation to Debbie, really because she's the one that I've talked to a lot about being a part of the Heritage Trail video. I would love for each of you to be part of the Heritage Trail video, So with that, tomorrow we are shooting some B-roll, meaning really people walking along the trail. We're trying to find somebody to be on a bike and that sort of stuff. Because we are, again, like I said, we are creating this video promo for the trail and just make a lot more people aware of it, that it's open and ready. So tomorrow, again, apologies, very last minute, but tomorrow, roughly 6 o'clock, we're going to start filming on the Heritage Trail, if you are available, and bring your bike. As you know, the budget was adopted for FY22. A couple of highlights I wanted to share. We will be renovating the lower level restroom in the community center to, address some ADA issues that we had with circumference in a couple of the stalls. There is some playground equipment approved for Windsor Park, Sardis Park, Bauckham Park, and Rice Park. I'm going to revisit the equipment idea in a second also. But another relatively big project, one that I'm certainly excited about, is Uten Pottery. So there was funding approved in the budget to begin the design phase of Uten Pottery Park and what that will look like. I've already talked to Paula Lester and some other people want to get together and begin those conversations about, exactly what the idea is, revisit the conceptual design that we have in place, and just sort of kick that project off. And so also, as I'll say, you guys are all aware, the town of Matthews has this ARPA funding, the American Rescue Plan Act, and finding ways to use those dollars has been the biggest challenge, or ways to legally use it. Still up for interpretation, I believe, public comment extends through Friday of this week. Talking to Becky and Hazen, best guess, September, October. Some final language will be, available, truly outlining what some of those funds could be used for. Playground equipment is one that is a potential, purchase or use for those funds. So we are excited about that. If it does pan out to where park equipment falls under whatever category, for that spending, we're super excited about it. But as of right now, we are looking at some stormwater projects that we feel, sort of good about. Some of the language, stormwater is something that is shown to be eligible. What else were we looking at? Oh, and some loose language about broadband. So if it were bringing Wi-Fi to an area that was underserved or not currently, where Wi-Fi is not currently available, that's also another option. And I think that is about all I have. Yes, sir.
Is there any funding in there for the Pleasant Plains project or Percy or Hulsey or future pocket parks, or that's not in the budget at all for the next fiscal year? For any development at the Pleasant Plains site, the 25 acres, and for Percy or Hulsey, which obviously is an ongoing long-term deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with no dollars for Percy Hulsey Park, I do think, in my opinion, that will fall into the conversation about bond referendum. Just really looking at the sheer size of that project, very likely. No dollars directly allocated to that McKee Pleasant Plains piece, because we don't really have a name for it yet. But there is $1 million available for development of recreation in that area.
Is that money dedicated to Parks and Rec, or is that in the town's general fund? I'm just curious where it's gone, whether you can access it, or to get it you have to go jump through a variety of hoops again.
Well, no, the dollars are in the town's coffers, but the language sort of tied to the gift of it was that would be for recreation. Or honestly, it didn't even say specifically development of that site, but for recreation, in that area.
I take it there's no money for future land acquisition. That would also be part of a bond that we may talk about in the future.
Could be.
And above all, did you guys get a net? Are you at zero, a net increase over last year, or a decrease? Where do you stand in relation to the funding that you got in fiscal year 2020?
We did not grow a lot. There was some slight growth. We did add we added money for a new event. Part of it is for, say, activating or kicking off the other side of Percy Hulsey Park. So we'll have the dog park there. So the idea is to have some event just to, bring everybody into that side of the park and really activate it. But then also there's an idea to add a pop-up market type event next to the post office, using that town property in that area. So those are, say, my notes I have for those dollars. Those are the biggest movers. Every year is a little bit different, and this year we did have, other dollars for some additional playground equipment and some other, say, bigger things. We had the dog park, in this year. Of course, we did it last year, so we're not going to have that in this year. I do think the budget meets the needs of the department. Again, I think it was a slight increase, but nothing too big.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions for Corey on his report?
I have a question
Go ahead.
for you. We've been talking about bond issues for some time now. Is it just very general again? And do we have any, how are you feeling about that? And do we have any even idea of a possible timeline?
No, it was mentioned the other day in our department head meeting. We were going to have a department head sort of, not a retreat, but a half day, just get together and really look at, where we see our departments and, looking at the strategic plan of the town. And then from there, we have the planning conference. I think we're also planning a mini planning conference. We're looking at dates to have that in the fall. And that's where it would be that conversation with the board about, hey, is there any appetite, for a bond referendum? And then looking again.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while, so hopefully we'll have some clarity on that a little bit later.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. Also, I wanted to share, I think last month I attempted to share some of these photos and I was not able to. But Roseland Cemetery. So this is a quick view of what it looks like now.
Wow.
Oh, that
It looks great. I rode back there the other day
Incredible.
good.
trying to figure out how you got to it from the apartments.
So I do have some, so this is one route.
Yeah.
So this is a view from the parking lot. You can see the nice paved access down to it.
Okay.
It's another shot. Yeah. So yeah, they did a great job out there. It's cleaned up. I like the fence.
I love that fence.
It's nice.
Nice fence around the retention pond.
Is there going to be some identifying marker kinds of things? What did we say about that? We've talked about it a little bit, and I can't remember. Help me remember that.
Yes, there will be some type of ceremony. I'm not sure yet, but also signage that the town is designing to place out there.
Good.
Yeah.
Right.
And now that's all I have.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Old business, the only things I'm aware of are, once again, the Veterans Memorial, and we'll deal with that next thing. And the mural in Crestdale, which I understand the new artist, Michaela, is going to meet with Larry Whitley and set up a community meeting with the Crestdale community, correct? To get some input on design?
Yeah, we already did, but the meeting date is on hold because Susan is still waiting on federal approval for the advisory shoulder. She had reached out back in June, but hasn't heard back yet. So we're waiting on that piece before we start any community meetings for now.
All right, because I got the impression that Crestdale was not yet in the loop, and now I understand why. Thanks. All right, any other old business, guys, that anybody can think of that we need to discuss? And I guess new business, the only thing we have is the mural for outside the Loyalists, correct? Melissa, Corey, which one of you wants to run the show on this one?
I got it.
Yours, Melissa.
This is up.
And I'll go ahead and apologize if it gets a little loud. I am solo this evening with 2 out of 3 of the children. So this one is a little unpredictable. So I see 2 people here. I was hoping we'd have a little bit more attend, but my thought is I'm going to go through this. I will be reading a lot of what I already sent to y'all, the advisory committee, but just so that way everybody else can hear it as well. We'll show the designs, open it to feedback, and then probably give it a couple of days after this for people to reach out with any feedback that they may have in case they look at it after tonight. So the location that we are talking about is the patio wall at 435 North Trade Street, number 102, which is outside of the Loyalist. Corey, if you could pull up that picture of the patio wall, please. This spot here, and it is just from that bench that is closest to us in the photo, wrapped around the corner to the inside of the gate. So it's just those 3 panels, if you will, and the columns that are included on that. That is the space. So it is somewhat of a small space, but it is a space nonetheless. So Osiris Rain is the artist who was chosen for this project, and he is pretty well known in Charlotte. He's done a lot of large scale realism type of murals. The ideas that we had talked about at the last advisory committee to incorporate into this mural were Stumptown's history, Seaboard, the railroad, the North Carolina flag, the farmers market, roots and how it ties into local foods, strength in community, native pollinators, the Loyalists. Chris from the Loyalists had mentioned including the slogan, be real, be kind, be loyal, and something that could link the past with the present. The other big part of this is wanting to see something different in Matthews, something that is unique to Matthews, that is outside of what has been done in the past. So something totally new. So Osiris created 2 designs based on this feedback. Sorry. I'm just going to quote what he said because I feel like he said it so well. He included realistic representations of fresh produce and local fare as the primary focus of the mural. The realist representations are balanced with a pattern base to create a unity in the overall mural while layering abstracted elements of the history of the area within the piece for a subtextual narrative to tie the work together as a whole. The colors are vibrant, creating a statement piece. So we'll show you both designs. I'll give the description for the first design. You'll understand the second one once you see it. But the first one being as abstract as it is, I think the context helps. And it's bold. So this is a bold and distinctly contemporary design that sets it apart from what one might expect to see in Matthew. So this is from Osiris. It still tells the narrative of the town's rich history, but including the connection to farming and its current connection still with farming and slow food. So this mural is meant to be read from right to left. So if you start at the stagecoach, this is what Osiris said. It starts with the motifs of rail tracks and the stagecoach as integral parts of the growth of the town. These lead into an image of a stump with its roots leading to the past. In a way, it symbolizes the town's connection with that history. But out of the stump comes new growth, the Matthews of today. From the tree, the eyes led to silhouettes of a vegetable garden and a dairy cow and her calf. Then, to create additional cohesion with the entire piece, the silhouettes of dogwood flowers flow through the entire piece to tie into North Carolina as a whole. That's his quote. So something that's abstract, it's bright, it's bold. There's a lot in it that you can look into and see, but, people are going to make it what they want to be. But it's a cool piece. That's number 1, design number 1. And then, did you want to? You're muted. Mm-hmm. Did you want to show number 2?
Move on to the second, or conversation about the first.
Well,
Let's look at the second, and then we can talk about both. There's only 2 choices.
Correct. Yeah. So let's do the second piece. So Osiris is known for his realism. So while this looks like a photograph, it wouldn't look quite like this. So this is a more literal connection of food and farming and local native pollinators. So this is design number 2. Definitely more real. Okay.
All right, guys, anybody want to make a comment on design 1 or design 2?
I will. I think design 1 shows history a whole lot more than design 2, personally.
Yeah,
Anybody
I
else?
love design number 1.
Love the vibrant colors in design 2, but
Well, actually, when I printed it out, I was concerned because I wasn't getting vibrant colors on number 1, but looking at what Melissa put up there, that took care of it, because I want something that's going to be eye-catching as you go by. That's going to, draw your attention to it. The second one is really nice, but it looks like something you might expect over the produce section at Harris Teeter, in all fairness. there's nothing special or non-generic about it. Also, it kind of goes back to what we have over at the farmer's market. So I really like number one. It makes you think a little bit, certainly, which art should do. And I think it's just more visually arresting. That's just my feeling. Anybody else?
I guess it's, and I will be the first to admit that I'm not a great artistic critic, but I'm wondering if I feel like you have to really study and almost need a lot of, I almost wish there could be some word description under design one, because to me, you have to really do some studying to see what the point. I mean, I get the point after reading it, but I needed to read that in order to understand the point behind design one. And that may just be me, because I don't consider myself much of a contemporary art guru. So, again, take that for what it's worth. I just I wish there were some, once I read the description, I got it, but I had to read the description to get it. And maybe other people won't.
Melissa, could we put a plaque or something up there along with it? The artist describing the work, and this obviously would only affect people who walked up to it, but that might not be a bad idea.
We've done it in the past with other murals that are on our property. So as long as it's something that we could do there based on the property, I'm sure we could. It's also something we could include on the town website.
I think that
when
would
we introduce it, also we can use all that language as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think that would be helpful.
Anybody else? Deb, you want to weigh in on this, or you're just going to sit back and watch the show?
Yeah, I love it. I love design number one, and I love the history behind the fact that he uses Sammy as a reference in Newtown Farm, because Sammy is I like the OG. He's also the OG of the farmers market. And so that's very sentimental. And so I love that. So I'd vote for the first one.
Scott or Ryan, either of you want to weigh in, or you're comfortable with how the discussion's going?
No, I like number one. Definitely catches your eye a lot more. And second your thoughts, Howie. That kind of looks like the farmer's market mural in the second one. So I'm in favor of the first one.
Yeah, I have no challenges with either one.
All right, I guess that makes it pretty easy. If everybody just, is there a motion to suggest mural one be the final mural, design one be the submitted mural?
Also move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Opposed. And this is going to be printed out like all the others and then applied to the brick wall. Or is it going to be painted on?
Yes, this will actually be painted on, so it draws even more attention to the area and the action that's happening. And it will have a coating on it. So this will be something new and unique. And Corey, are we going to be able to open it to, I see that Renee and Mark are on here too, in case they have anything they want to comment or add.
I didn't realize we had anybody else. And what, do we have an idea what the lifespan is on a coated painted mural as opposed to the vinyl mural, same or no?
Similar, if not the same, just depending on weather, but with the coating on it, about the same.
So I had.
I see they're commenting in that thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're just along, so we're good. Thank you, Renee and Mark.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And I also wanted to add, John, who's not here, he did comment via email, and he also liked option one. And so what's going to happen from here is, I guess with the uncertainty of, consensus tonight, it is awesome that, we did reach it. The recommendation will go to the town board. We're looking at second meeting in August, I think it is. But after tonight's meeting, we're going to share this with Hazen and Maureen, and they'll share it in an update to the town board, just as an update, as we've outlined in our public art policy, but then bring it to the board for official approval in August.
All right.
Then,
thank you. Is there any other new business, or that takes care of it?
Well, one other question related to the art. Melissa, I don't think there was even say it were approved by the board on the 23rd. We're still working on a timeline, right? He hasn't given any timeline for install.
No, I mean, right now he's in Durham working on a project. So it'll go based on his schedule and then also weather, because, it's on brick and it does face sun. So it has to be a cooler temperature, not too cold, not too hot, something right in between. So a couple factors to consider.
Yeah. And so, moving past the August meeting, whatever the result is, we'll keep everyone updated on schedule of install and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I would hope to have an update from the artist by August as far as schedule.
So it sounds like October might be the perfect weather time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Corey, is there anything else in business that covers it?
I think that's it. Look through what I had here.
All right, while Corey's doing that, guys, I thank you. I know usually we take the month of July off, and I appreciate you taking time away from your summer vacations and just general fun to do this. I assume that our August meeting is going to be a more intense and longer meeting, so you might want to rest up for it.
I apologize for being late. I had 7:00 in my mind.
August will be a good meeting. We'll be prepared to talk through the Stumptown Veterans Memorial park design. At this point, there's still Emily was still working on 2 or 3. I think the second and third are pretty similar. So just having those conversations about how many to physically create, and again, we will have that front-facing perspective to make it a little easier to see where it is in the park.
Right. And Doug has asked that at least Corey and I sit down with he and Larry sometime before the meeting just to go over things with him. If we do set up a meeting, I will let you know when it is, and you guys are welcome to sit in on it. But he wanted to have a chat about the designs before we have the meeting on the 14th, as I understood it.
Yeah. And I guess, for me, just as a comment, I guess it's important to differentiate between, making comments and design. I think, certainly with us, sort of laying out what we want to see, maybe some expectations. But I think the goal was to let the architect design it. So I guess, not necessarily.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying as a courtesy to MVAC, they've asked to sit down and talk about this before the meeting. I think as a fellow committee, we kind of owe them at least that on a common ground issue.
Yeah, certainly.
So I'm sorry, I didn't want to misrepresent that we're going to go back and recreate the wheel. I don't think at that point, any tweaks will probably be relatively minor ones, I'm assuming, but who knows until we see the designs.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get those out as soon as I get them, share them with the committees. We'll go from there.
Well, guys, thank you.
One question. The dog park at Purser Halsey, I drive by it all the time. I see that there's paving being done. So are we getting close?
Yeah, you can probably tell the past 2 months I have not brought it up, right? I've been consistently disappointing myself with throwing dates out. We're close. You're right. We did, finally got the concrete apron to the Highway 51 done. We added some asphalt apron beyond that concrete. Most of the big stuff is done. It is the little stuff that we're still trying to work through. And, again, we're using our internal public works department to get it done, and they're doing it around everything else, that they're having to do. So they're having to pick and choose the weeks when they can work, in the park. But with that, we are close. We just need to get the water in. I'm going to blame Mecklenburg County. I've seen the permit in the email. I got to get somebody to sign it. That's what we're waiting on for that. And then the vendor to physically install the well. and then some landscaping, small landscaping things we got to finish. And I even hate to throw out a date, but if everything goes well, give the well vendor a little time. 30 days that well should be in. 30 days, our public works department should be able to finish up the little landscape things that we have planned or left outstanding. And you'll be the first to know when that you will be at least the second to know. We're going to put a big sign, big banner out on the highway that says this park is finally open.
Okay.
Or this side of the park is finally open.
Cool. Thanks.
So yeah, we're getting there.
All right, guys, if there's nothing else, thank you all for coming tonight. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and we'll see you on August 11th, 12th, whatever date it actually turns out to be.
All right.
You guys have a great month.
Thanks, guys.